I was born in the Bronx in New York, and I have two older sisters. Both of my parents are World War II survivors, so that had a huge impact on my upbringing. It could be at sometimes extremely dysfunctional, but my parents did the absolute best that they could. I went to yeshiva, which was religious Jewish school, till the middle of the 10th grade. And then I went to public school, Forest Hills High School in Queens. Then I graduated and I started working in a dentist's office in New York. And then at that same time, I found the Grateful Dead. And that was a huge shift in my life. I was walking down, as I say, a very dark path. And it made me stop in my tracks and walk down, follow the light. Yeah, it really drastically changed my life for the better. I found a whole new group of friends. There was a huge camaraderie and tribal feeling, and everybody was around the same age, and we were all looking for the same thing, and we all found it. At the same time, I found beads. I bought a pair of beaded earrings. I still know her. She lives in Humboldt. And for $5. And I loved them so much that I would walk around and ask people whether they knew how to do that. And one person said, "Oh yeah, I can teach you." And it was Jay Blakesberg, who's a very famous rock and roll photographer now. So it's funny how things circle around. And we were in a bar on Long Island, and he taught me how to bead, standing right there, told me what to do. It's a pretty funny story. And so I went home, went to sleep, and woke up and did exactly what he told me. And I started my love for beads. Then I started selling my stuff. I was turned on to selling jewelry on the beach. And I made kind of like a fortune over the summer. Yeah. That had a huge impact on me. And so first I was selling just puka shell necklaces. And then I started selling my beadwork. And between the two, I made a fortune. I could make $1,000 a day. And in 1981, 2, 3, that was a huge amount of money. So I saved it, and after a few summers went by, then I put everything in storage and came out to the West Coast to find a new life. I had a series of events that brought me first to Jerome, Arizona, which is a teeny town on the side of a mountain. Yeah, and it's very art oriented, and I was able to do my beadwork and support myself. I'd come to New York and do a trade show and get wholesale orders, and I made it work. And then my mother, God bless her, said, "Charlotte, what are you doing?" I said, "I'm looking for Mr. Right." And she said, "You're never going to find him. He doesn't exist." The next day, or 2 days later, I met Alan, my first husband, at a dead show. And he lived here in Humboldt. And he basically bonked me over the head and said, "Ugh, come with me." And I said, "Okay, sure. That sounds like a good life." So a few months later, I was on the doorsteps of the original Garden of Beadin on Avenue of the Giants with my suitcases opening my store that I had no idea what to do. I'm born under a lucky star. There's these books, Love Cards and Destiny Cards, and I'm the 10 of diamonds, and I am born surrounded by Jupiter's blessings. I have 3 beautiful kids and 1 stepson. From my first marriage to Alan, I have Zachary, who's, my eldest, and just the most beautiful, I'm gonna cry. Each one of them is their own special gift. Zach has made me a grandmother, 2 beautiful kids that I unfortunately right now with COVID can hardly get to see, but I did just see them this past weekend. We socially distanced and all wore masks, but I was able to play and, come here, Grandma, you gotta see this. And then I have Alex, who is not married and who's trying to find himself in this world. And then with my second husband, who had a son. So I went from 2 to 3, and then we had Hunter to 4 very quickly. And Hunter is my youngest, and he was an interesting one to raise because he used every cuss word in the world. I had a dream last night about string cheese, and I dreamt that all of my friends who said they were going to be there were not there. It was really an interesting dream. But when Dead & Company start up again, oh yeah, I will be there. We sold beads in the parking lot until they asked us not to. The scene just became too much, and then and I started having kids, and so it became perfectly fine for me not to vend anymore. I'm at a 5-year point since diagnosis of my breast cancer. I have what's called HER2 positive, which is treatable. I also did what's called the cold caps, which is a frozen ice cap that freezes your hair follicles and you don't lose your hair. Iced. You have to put moleskin on your ears and on your here, and it worked. I did lose about 25 to 30% of my hair. The odd thing now is that, you have to be on some kind of drug now to kill the cancer and hold it back. Cancer always wants to come back unless you've arrested it. But if you have metastatic breast cancer, which is what I had, it always wants to come back. So throughout the 5 years, I've always been on something. Once every 3 weeks, I go down to UCSF and they monitor me. They take scans, PET scans, CT scans, MRIs of my brain, and they monitor it. And, when the side effects of certain drugs become too much, we change drugs. So the drug that I'm on right now is called Enhertu, which is a Herceptin-based drug. And one of the side effects, the worst side effect, is hair thinning, which is a little slap in the face for me because I worked so hard to keep my hair. And now it's drastically thinning and has broken off all back here, and wearing a mask through COVID does not, makes it break. But I'm alive living a full life. When you first get cancer, they don't talk about past 5 years. You know, they'll give you statistics up to 5 years. So, I'm there. If you have metastatic breast cancer, you're never technically cancer-free. I feel mostly good. You know, like I said, every 3 weeks you get your blood work and you see the doctor and you talk about, you know, your issues. And I feel like the team at UCSF is just phenomenal. I'm so lucky to have been handed, there's my luck, my Jupiter luck thing. I was handed a brilliant, drop-dead gorgeous doctor. You know, we have a special connection in a lot of different ways. You know, I don't know if, somebody said to me a long time ago that your oncologist becomes your most important person in your life. And I didn't quite understand that. There's certain things that people say to you when you first get cancer that you don't quite understand. And I didn't get it, but I got it now. It's like I don't do anything without her approval. I'm really looking forward to going to the Summer Arts Fair mask-free. I'm looking forward to going to groups, you know, to music, where it's not a super spreader. My business, we just moved. We've been downstairs, a flight of stairs, and had the cheapest rent in California for a long time, and we just moved to street side. I have a wonderful partner, Mark, who's been extremely supportive of me, who's been there left and right with my illness. He used to be married to my cousin. I've known him for a long time. Never thought of it. He was my cousin's husband, and my husband and him, they, you know, and the little kids, we all got along, and we all would meet at Dead shows and have a great time. And oh, that's too bad they split up. And then years later, he came here once, and that was it. Michelle Bushnell? Well, she was my neighbor for a long time, and so yeah, I am waiting till she gets a little bit, you know, till she gets the feel of her job a little bit better, and then I want to talk about it because I love my town. There's homeless on purpose, and there's homeless by situation. And the people who want to be helped, there's no resources here. Right. I'd like to see the big developers in town finish their projects. I'm going to continue on my life in my business, in my home, with my grandchildren and my kids that aren't so little anymore, and try and enjoy as much of my life as I have. Because in my situation, I don't know how much I have left. I could have 1 year, I could have 5 years, I could have 10 years. Love.